Hey, Katy, first, it is almost Advent, and that leads us up to Christmas. And Becca and I have a few resources that we want to share with you that you can be doing on your own, personally, with your family, maybe even with friends. And so we're going to walk you through a couple of those resources. One is something we're going to call Practicing Advent, and it's called that because, as you may know, Advent is a season of waiting. But that doesn't mean it's a season of doing nothing. And so this, we're calling it an Advent Guide. It's really meant to help you do that. So it's got a couple of quotes, it's got scriptures, all that pertain to our God with Us sermon series, which is looking at the incarnation, God with us, and what does that mean? What does that matter? But also part of what this guide is going to do is just have you be silent. This was a practice that actually I picked up a few years ago, and I hadn't spent a lot of time just in silent prayer. And at first I thought it was silly and boring. But over the course of time, it actually was pretty formative. And so this invites you to really pause in this season to try to listen, to be active in your listening and in your waiting. So this will be made available on our church's website starting on November 26th, maybe even earlier. And you should have 5 each week. And we'd love for you to read through this, take time, pause, and practice Advent with us together. But Becca also has some more resources.
Yeah, so I know that families want to have ways to practice Advent together, and so I have a few suggestions. So I've got first this one called The Christmas Promise. And what I like about this one is that it has an accompanying Advent calendar. I feel like Advent calendars have become cool again all of a sudden. This one is super easy. You just pull off a page and there's a piece of scripture. And as you pull it off, you'll unveil not just the scripture, but this really cool picture. And so this is really thin, really easy to go through with your kids. And then the booklet is also really helpful. So it has by the day, so starting December 1, and it just goes through with suggestions, things you can do as a family, things to read, things to talk about, a suggested prayer. But it's what I like about this one, again, it's so easy. These are designed to be 5 minutes, so it's not going to be overly taxing because I know December is full, but you still want to make this time a priority. It's also so light, and I feel like if you're traveling over the weekend or whatever to visit people, you could still take it with you to keep your practice, and I think that's a really cool part of this. I've also got this devotional, an Advent practice that I think is really helpful. This one is called Shadow and Light by Tish Oxenreider. And what I like about this one is that it is, first of all, I enjoy how pretty it is. It's a random thing, but it's nice to look at, right?
Yeah.
And it is very thoughtfully put together. So it actually goes through all of Advent, not just starting December 1. And so it'll tell you, when you're going to start. And it'll go by week with a theme, but each day also has a component to look at. So a piece of art that you're going to look up on their website or that you can just Google, and something that you could listen to. Not everybody or every night, you're not necessarily going to want to do all of that. But what I think is so great about that is I feel like it really helps elevate that time when you're doing it together as a family. Stephen and I actually did this one together last year, which is why I feel like I can heartily recommend it. And it is just a really good practice. It does also invite some of that more quiet and contemplative time. Yeah. I think this one is a good one for older families. I think your elementary age kids could probably be a part of this, but it's going to be definitely easier for families with teens or a couple, or this one would be good to do with friends, like you were saying earlier, to talk about it, because you could talk about the funky art and stuff that is listed. So I think this one's cool. This is my middle of the road one. This is like, if it was Goldilocks, this one would be just right. And this one is called The Way to the Manger. It's a family Advent devotional. And what I like about it is that it is actually middle of the road. It's easy and accessible for families while still really challenging them to stretch just a little bit more, spend a little bit more time. There are questions in it that'll say that some are the parents ask the kids. But there are also some that the kids are supposed to ask each other. So like I'm just looking on day 14, one of the questions is, how did you meet each other? That's not great for every family, but it's definitely something that could be adapted or just a different way to enter into these devotionals. So it's not always just parent directed or grown-up directed. Yeah. It's also really pretty, like just the pages. I guess that's a thing for me.
We like pretty things.
Apparently I like pretty things. I mean, but look at that. It's lovingly illustrated. And it does go through all of the weeks of Advent. All of these are available just online, like through Cokesbury, our United Methodist Publishing House, or honestly, you can get them on Amazon. They're not terribly expensive. And I think they're really a great way for your family to engage the season of Advent, not just rush into Christmas.
Cool. And I know you've pulled together, these are kind of the ones you're highlighting, but
Right.
we have even more resources kind of all compiled together if you just really want to do all the things, or you just want to explore some more options that are out there. So
yeah, I mean, I love the books, so I would love to tell you about more books.
Yes, yeah. And for that matter, our Advent, Practicing Advent will also have a whole list of all the things that are quoted. So
Awesome.
if you want resources, we got them for you. We also got them in bite-sized versions, so it's a little easier. So anyway, Katy first, or anyone that wants to do Advent with us, we hope that these resources will be useful for you personally, in your families, again, amongst small groups or with people, and we hope that they make the season just that much more meaningful as we prepare for Christmas.